Let's see how to find square root of any perfect squares in just 5 seconds. To begin with, you will have to remember the square of these basic numbers which are mentioned over here. We are going to use this information to find square root of the number. Let's start. Let's start with finding the square root of 3481. Over here we have to divide the given number in two parts. The last two digits of any number has always to be considered as a single part. Over here, as we can see that the number ends with 1. Hence, we can say that the unit digit of this square root has to be either 1 or 9. Now we check the first two digits of this number, which is 34. 34 falls between the squares of 5 and 6. But we will always take the smaller number, which is 5. So the square root of 3481 has to be either 51 or 59. Let's find out what it's going to be. As we know that 34 is close to the square of 6 and not to the square of 5. As 6 is greater than 5, here we are going to take the greater number out of 1 and 9, which is 9. Hence we can say that the square root of 3481 is equals to 59. Easy, right? Let's take few more examples to understand this better. Let's try to find the square root of 6084. As you know that we have to divide the given number into two parts, and we always have to consider the last two digits as one of the parts. As you can see that the number ends with 4. Hence, the unit digit of this square root has to be either 2 or 8. Now, we have a look at the first two digits of the number, which is 60. As you can see that 60 falls between the square of 7 and 8. So, we have to take the smaller number over here. So, the square root of 6084 has to be either 72 or 78. But now, we have to check whether 60 is close to the square of 7 or 8. And we can see that it is close to the square of 8, which is greater than 7. Hence, we have to consider the greater number out of 2 and 8. So we can say that the square root of 6084 has to be 78. Let's consider another example. We find the square root of 9801. As you can see that the number ends with 1. Hence, the unit digit of this square root has to either be 1 or 9. Now we check the first two digits, which is 98, which falls between the square of 9 and 10. Hence, the square root of 9801 has to be either 91 or 99. But now we can see that 98 is more close to the square of 10, which is greater than 9. Hence, we are going to take the greater number out of 1 and 9. Therefore, we can say that the square root of 9801 is equals to 99. Now let's try to find the square root of a 5-digit number, which is 10,404. As you know that we always have to keep the last two digits as one of the parts and the remaining digit as another part. As you can see that the number ends with 4, hence the unit digit of our square root has to be 2 or 8. Now we check the first three digit, which is 104, which falls between the square of 10 and 11. But we always have to consider the smaller number over there. Hence, the square root of 10,404 has to be either 102 or 108. But as we can see that 104 is close to the square of 10, which is smaller than 11. Hence, we have to consider the smaller number out of 2 and 8. Therefore, we can say that the square root of 10,404 has to be 102. Going good, right? Let's take one last example. Let us try to find the square root of 729. As we know that we always have to consider the last two digits as one of the part of our number and the remaining number or the digit as another part. Now over here we can see that the number ends with 9. Hence, the unit digit of our square root has to be either 3 or 7. Now we check the first digit of our number, which is 7, which falls between the square of 2 and 3. But we always have to consider the smaller number over here. So the square root of 729 has to be either 23 or 27. Now we check the first digit, which is 7, which is close to the square of 3, which is greater than the square of 2. Hence, we have to consider the greater number over here out of 3 and 7. Therefore, we can say that the square root of 729 is equals to 27.